What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam. This is Vancity Audi. We're back at Racing Grid with a car that I cannot wait to hear and see how much power it makes. Malia has joined me again to test out the IMS750HS Turbo Kit from Iroz Motorsport. If you guys are subscribers to the channel, you know that she joined me here at Racing Grid a couple months ago, and we tested out her brand new Uniflex file on her stock turbo RS3. Now we've jazzed it up a bit, spiced it up a bit with some additional Iroz Motorsport hardware as well as that turbo. Now what I'm going to do is jump back a couple weeks to when we were at Rider Performance and we installed the hardware as well as the software, so you can see the differences in the turbo versus the stock turbo as well as my TTE 855. Once we've done that, we will get started here at Racing Grid and we're going to test out 91 octane, then E30, then E60, then E85, and see how the power gradually increases on Unitronic's Uniflex software while running this IMS750HS. So here's Malia's engine bay prior to the install of the turbo and the additional parts. I'm gonna let Kyle get to work, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like once we have a few things installed and the turbo uninstalled. So now that Kyle's just about ready to take out the stock turbo, I figured I'd go over the IMS750HS up close. You can see this is a heat shielded version, and this is a non-heat shielded version. Kyle from Rider Performance is stocking these and has sold a few, so he has some options available. Malia has picked one up and now is ready to have it installed, and now I'm just showing you how cool the design of this blade is. It's very, very different than the blades that you find in the TTE turbos that I've used. And check this out. This is huge. There is so much room for the exhaust to escape. They welded this as well, which is a bit different. And this turbo, keep in mind, was specifically made by Iroz to make sure that those EGTs were as low as possible. They want to make sure that the stock motors are nice and safe, running really low back pressure, or as low as you possibly can in hybrids. And I've been told by Hank, these do operate at a lower EGT and lower back pressure than the other hybrids on the market. Let's take a look at it side by side compared to the stock turbo now. And here we go, guys, a side-by-side comparison. This is the stock turbo that Kyle just removed from Malia's RS3 versus the 750HS. Look at the size difference on that. Look at the blade design. This thing's nuts. Very, very interesting design. Now let me show you the other side. And here's the last shot of the stock turbo versus the 750HS. Look at the size difference. First of all, look at that giant divot, right? And then you look over here, and they machined it out so much bigger, and they filled that in. I know I just pointed it out, but I've never seen that before on these turbos, and it is pretty damn cool. And again, the blade design, very, very interesting. Some very, very cool features of this 750HS versus the stock turbo. And here's the final comparison I'm gonna make for you guys. The 750HS and its blade design versus my 855 from TTE. I know this isn't comparing apples to apples by any means. This is a massive hybrid. I want to say this is a mid-range hybrid, totally designed for something different, but still pretty damn cool. This speed sensor has been added for my build. That's where this is going, so don't think that that's any different. This normally wouldn't come with the 855, but pretty cool to see the difference. Let's take a look at the other side. And here's the last comparison for you guys. This is my TTE 855, certainly a big wheel, but you can see that they left that portion in the turbo, whereas the 750HS, they just did something different. It's a really unique, very interesting design, and I can't wait to see how well it works on Malia's RS3. Final note I'll make before Kyle installs the turbo is Iroz sells you this little kit of O-rings and gaskets, which is pretty cool. I've never received anything like this before, and we've always thought, you know what, we should upgrade those, or we should change those over to new pieces, and we've never done it. With this kit, it comes with it. Pretty neat. Now that Kyle has the turbo installed, it's time to install the inlet. Malia is already using a Unitronic 4-inch turbo inlet. Now what you have to keep in mind while you're using this on this particular turbo is you have to buzz out this inner lip here for it to fit properly and seat on that turbo. I'm gonna let Kyle buzz this out so he can get it installed. And here's one of those other cool pieces of hardware that I said Malia got. IMS charge pipe kit with the tile blow-off valve. This thing sounds amazing. And here's the other piece of badass hardware from Iroz Motorsport. Their huge 5-inch air intake system. Super pumped to get this thing started and see what it sounds like. You guys have now seen the very, very cool hardware that we have installed on the car. What I'm also gonna let you know is the additional pieces of hardware that are installed on Malia's RS3. She's using the Race 3 1300 horsepower core for the intercooler. And as you guys just saw, she's now running the Iroz Motorsport 5-inch intake that leads into Unitronic's 4-inch turbo inlet. On the back side of the motor, you have that glorious IMS750HS, which leads into Iroz Motorsport's catless downpipe and then into the Iroz Motorsport mid pipes. In order to make this all work, she is also running upgraded port injectors. Those are the 980cc injectors she got from Unitronic. In addition to that, she has a couple Go Fast shiny bits from Iroz Motorsport, and that kind of wraps up her entire build. But enough of me talking. Let's hear what this badass RS3 sounds like and see how much power it makes at a straight 91 octane pump gas level. Now, before we get to these results, you guys should know that we are using DynoJet calibrated numbers on this Mustang dyno. It is a lot more comparable to what you'll see on other DynoJets across North America. First run is done utilizing straight Shell 91 octane fuel. We made 542 wheel horsepower, 483 wheel torque, and a pretty damn good looking graph. You see a little bit of an up here. It's almost like the torque is a bit hesitant. Looks like it comes in at about 3600 RPM, and then it holds flat, and then it pops up a little higher at about 4100 RPM, and then nice and flat, but a pretty damn good starting point for straight 91 octane fuel. Malia's husband, Rena, is taking over the ethanol adding services for today. I screwed up last time, so we're gonna leave it on him to get the ethanol balance perfect. We didn't get the blend exactly right. We ran an E40 blend, but we managed to gain 86 wheel horsepower and 39 wheel torque coming up from that 91 octane tune. What we see is the exact same thing where the torque is quite low and then it bumps up. My guess is that's to keep this stock motor intact and keep those rods happy, but still a nice flat torque curve all the way up. And then look at that horsepower just climb. Can't wait to see how much more horsepower we can make as we bump up the ethanol content. Good God, 85 wheel horsepower more and an additional 67 wheel torque, stepping it up to E64 from the E40 blend that we had. It looks like the identical trace for horsepower and for torque, just even higher. That is absolutely insane. Are we going to gain any more power getting as close to E85 as we can? Finishing this comparison off on E82, we made an additional 26 wheel horsepower, but we dropped down 11 wheel torque on the final run of the day, and the only loss you see is right there. When you first really get into the thick meat of the torque, you lose a little bit, but nothing crazy. It holds flat the rest of the way. Just remarkable power gains. Look at that curve just flying up there. The only thing I can think of for why there's this little step up in torque is because this is a stock motor file and you want to save those rods so they're not ramping in beast mode torque too soon. Just freaking crazy. 739 wheel horsepower and 578 wheel torque on an E82 blend running a 750HS on Unitronic's Uniflex. You guys thought I was done there. No chance in hell. This is a comparison between the final run and the first run. We gained 197 wheel horsepower and 95 wheel torque from 91 octane, which was the first run down here, to E82, which is the final runs up there. That is simply remarkable. All right, Malia, what did you think? You've been waiting some time to see that now.
Far exceeded my expectations. I can't wait to get to the track.
Awesome. I will see you there.
Let's go.
Thanks for coming out. What an absolutely monster performance out of this 750HS kit from Iroz Motorsport. Unreal tuning by Unitronic Uniflex. We're just literally dumping in ethanol into the tank and it just kept making more and more and more horsepower. But the torque was reasonably low. It kept it at roughly what we see here in these crazy conditions. Really, I think it's like negative 900 DA today. I want to say it's maybe 8 degrees out here. That's 8 degrees Celsius for you Americans watching. It's nice and cold, so it made a ton of power and a ton of torque. And when we've tested Unitronic E85 Stage 2 cars on this dyno, we saw equivalent torque numbers. So it's on par with what it made as a stock turbo as it did today on the 750HS, which is just crazy. So she can run this with a stock motor, stock low pressure fuel pump, stock map sensors, which is just mind blowing to me, but really, really pumped to see her at the track. With any luck, I'll be able to line up against her and we could see what my RS3 is capable versus hers. Might have to give her a little bit of an advantage, but I think it'll still be wicked and a lot of fun nevertheless. Thank you all very, very much for watching. Thank you to Malia for stopping by. Take care, everybody.